Hello, guys. Welcome to officially the first episode of Game Memories Podcast. I'm your host, Darnell, aka Tech Roll. And yeah, just welcome. This is our first episode. I'm super excited to start a podcast with you guys. So, Game Memories is all about, reliving your memories from past games, even, stuff that you played yesterday. It's all about just going over those game memories and just, going down memory lane and enjoying all these, fun game memories like we had. Gaming is awesome. And I love to talk about this with you guys. So I'm just going to give you a quick background of myself. I've been playing games since I could remember. I'm trying to think, maybe 4 or 5 years old. I've been gaming since then. I play all different types of genres: RPGs, fighting games, action, first-person shooters, you name it. I would call myself a true gamer. I play everything. Strategy, love them all. So why not, since we're game memories, why not think about my first gaming memory? Now, it took me a while to figure out, and I still can't figure out, but what was the first game I ever played? And I have three, so I'm not sure which one it is. So back when I was young, really, really long time ago, I would say I was like 4 or 5 years old, and my uncles, my two uncles and my aunt and my mom, they used to have the Intellivision, and I remember playing that, and I remember playing this game called Auto Racing. It is a racing game. It's very simple the way I remember it. I was looking at some past video of it, and it's very simple. I still remember it. It's just like a racer. You're just racing around this area. You're by yourself. There's no other people with you. And I remember the sounds of playing it. But I'm not sure if that was the first one, but I remember it vaguely. The other one I remember big time was Burger Time. So this had to be at least, let's see, 80, thinking about 87, around there. So playing Burger Time, I love that game. That was an awesome game. Any guys have ever played Burger Time, it's probably one of my favorite games from back then on the Intellivision. And then another one, Frogger. Frogger is definitely a throwback. That's probably the most known out of the three is Frogger. I would say Frogger, then Burger Time, and then Auto. I don't know if not too many people know about Auto Racing. But so yeah, that was my first into gaming, and I hooked on it. I got hooked on playing video games. Then later on, I remember having an NES. I don't know if it was mine, like the system was mine, or it was still my uncle's or not. I think it was mine, but that's when I really was putting time into gaming, is when playing the NES. Definitely my first console. I believe it was mine. So yeah, it was my first console was the NES. And that just hooked me on, and I just was forever playing games pretty much. So yeah, so I went from the Intellivision, NES, and then Intellivision, NES, and then Master System. I had actually, it might have been I might have had the Master System before the NES. Now I think about it, but I remember Master System so well because I don't think I had any games to start with. But if you turn on your Master System, without any games in it, you had this little maze game, and I remember playing that all the time because when I first had it, I didn't have any games, so I remember playing that constantly. And I think I had some games after that, but I think really NES took over. But I remember having this. I think it was Rocky. Yeah, it was a Rocky game I used to have, and I remember playing it, and it was really like you go through, you play Apollo, you fight Apollo, and then you fight Clubber Lang, and then you go to Ivan. I couldn't beat him. I just remember that I could not beat Ivan. So yeah. So also, so after NES, I wouldn't call myself a fanboy. I'm not a fanboy. Okay, guys, I am a gamer. But after NES, I went to Sega. Sega Genesis. I had a Sega Genesis, and that was my joint. Love playing Sega Genesis. Love. There's a lot of good games. I think Sonic probably was my first game I played on the Sega Genesis. But most of my friends had the Sega Genesis. I knew a couple other people who had a Super Nintendo, and I didn't play too many Super Nintendo games, but when I did, it was at their house. So when you're back then, you're that age, if you had one console, if you wanted to go play the other, you had to go to your friend's house. So all the Super Nintendo gaming I did it at my friend's house. So we played, Mario Kart, Super Mario World, and all that stuff. I just didn't have access, 100% access all the time, but that's when I did play it. It was there at my friend's house. So from there to my favorite console of all time, Sega Saturn. I loved Sega Saturn. Like, if I had to pick, like, any console just to have and that's it, no other console, it is my Sega Saturn. So many great games on there. It just sucks that what happened to Sega and everything. But so Sega Saturn, and then I had a PlayStation 1 as well. So playing both of those systems like crazy. Later on we'll get into like games and all that stuff. We'll talk about games, we'll talk about all those things. But so after PlayStation 1, after Sega Saturn, I had a Sega Dreamcast. I believe I had a Sega Dreamcast first. So I had Sega Dreamcast. Awesome thing. Awesome games. I didn't know until later you actually can burn games for your Sega Dreamcast. I wish I knew it back then, or at least somewhat growing up. But so love my Sega Dreamcast. I think the Sega Dreamcast was definitely before its time. Like the things you could do with that system, it was very powerful. You could go online with it. Probably the first. I don't know if it was the first system, but I believe it was the first system you can go online. I remember playing, I think it was NBA 2K, going online with it. But yeah, so then I had, from there, you had the 360, I had a 360. I didn't have I had a PS2 before that, but 360, I didn't have a PS3. But later on, I borrowed my friend's PS3, knocked out a lot of exclusives. 360 was awesome, and then I got an Xbox One. A little bit later on, I had a PS4. Just recently, a couple months ago, I had a PS4. But in between that, I've been PC game as well. I am a PC gamer. I am a console gamer. I am a mobile gamer. I play mobile games as well. I have a 3DS. I had a DS. I had Advance. I had the Sega Nomad, which is like awesome. I don't have it anymore. I regret that I got rid of it. I don't remember how I got rid of it, but make some dumb decisions when you're younger. But so I am a true gamer, to let you guys know, and hope you guys take this journey on with me for all your gaming memories. Now, so I want to ask you guys, what is the first game you played? If you can remember, please email me at GameMemoriesPodcast@gmail.com or hit me up on Twitter, GameMemoriesPod. Now, so we talked about my console, which ones I had, which one I played a lot. So I just want to go over some favorite games of mine. It's just a quick list of some games I loved, I still love. There's a lot more, but this is the ones I just came up to me, and we'll, as episodes go on, we'll go over some more games and go through games, all the games I love and I hate, definitely hate. So Xenogears, PS1 game, one of is my favorite RPG of all time. If you guys have not played Xenogears, you have to play it. Now, I know a lot of people love Final Fantasy 7, 8 or 9. I know a lot of people like Chrono Trigger, a couple other things. But Xenogears is hands down my favorite RPG. Double Disc, even though is not the perfect game, obviously. There's a lot of story, like confusing story pieces in it. Like it goes with a lot of politics, religion. The story goes crazy. It's a little bit crazy, but it's great. Even though there's a double disc, so the second disc of Xenogears is kind of they ran out of money, so that second disc is really really rushed. They had to do like these cutscenes, like it's not good. All right. Some parts it was just rushed, so the second disc is rushed. But even though you can get so many hours out of this first disc, so it kind of makes up for it. But it's a great RPG. So if you get your hands on it, Xenogears for PS1, hands down my favorite. So since we're gonna go talk about Sega Saturn again, my favorite strategy game is a Sega Saturn game. It's called Dragon Force. Now I don't think too many people know about this game, to the point where there is a sequel. It's only in Japan. It came out, I guess, a couple years after the first one. But Dragon Force is it's my favorite strategy game, but probably I think it's the best strategy game. It's not complicated. It's very simple, but it's great. So you pick at a different kingdom. So you have like maybe 8 different kingdoms you can pick from. Each kingdom has a leader, and with that leader you can you have generals under you, and you can go around this board, overworld board, and you have these generals under you as well. So you go out, you pick a fight with someone, and the 2 generals will fight, but they have a little army with them. And depending on the army, they would have, different squads with them. So the army could be a regular soldiers, it could be, cavalry, harpies, archers, all that stuff. And each unit was strong at one point and weak to a certain one. So, there was the strategy within that. So you got to make sure you had the right units going against the other, the counter the other general. So awesome game. It's a lot of base taking. You would fight against other generals, but you would take their castles and all that stuff, and you got to move your characters around. And once you beat them, you can capture them, and you can try to get them to join your squad and all that stuff. Very fun game, Dragon Force. Awesome. Now I wish they would remake this game or do something with it, or make a remake. Not remake, a sequel. I want to play another Dragon Force game. Probably not going to happen, but I wish someone would make a game similar, and then I'll be all over it. So yeah, let's go to beat 'em ups. I enjoy a good beat 'em up, and I think this beat 'em up is probably one of the best. I don't know if it's the best, but for me, it's the best. Streets of Rage 2. Now, it is an awesome game. For Sega Genesis, Streets of Rage 2, I'm sure you know about it. But Streets of Rage 2 fighting is awesome, on point. But you know what really, really puts Streets of Rage 2 over the top is the music. It has one of the best music for this game. To the point where you can just go in the options, which games don't do that anymore, where you can just listen to music. Go in the options and just play the music. you can just jam out to the Streets of Rage music, and it's awesome. But yeah, so the beat 'em up in this game, like the fighting wise, it's great. You can play it as 4 characters, I believe. It is yeah, Skate, the chick, Axel, and I forgot the big guy's name. Yeah, forgot his name. But awesome game. Play, have someone with you. Play 2 players. You can do like team up attacks, stuff like that. The first one was good, but this one, Streets of Rage 2, definitely is the best. It had 3 and 4. They're good, but I still think the second one is better than all the other ones. Recently, I just about to play it. They have the 360 version that you can play on Xbox One, and I downloaded it. I just have not played it yet, but eventually I will. So another game I like, which is probably one of my favorites. Go back to N64. Oh, did I add that? I don't think I did, but I had an N64 as well. I don't think I put that. I don't think I told you guys that, but yeah, I used to have N64. But No Mercy, WWF No Mercy, hands down. I'm saying it now, hands down, the best wrestling game of all time. Still is, no matter what crap has been putting out. But yeah, No Mercy, one of the best games. I actually had WCW versus NWO Revenge before that. Great game, but No Mercy perfected that system. That system by THQ, that wrestling system, hands down is the best. I'm in love with this game. You can do so much with this game and how old it is, and still like so much. It's funny. I can't even like put it to words how great this game is. But yeah, definitely No Mercy is probably the best wrestling. I have not played any of the Fire Pro. I know a lot of people say those Fire Pro games are really great. I actually have one for the Sega Saturn. I have a import. Have not played it yet. I know recently, a couple years ago, I think, or yeah, maybe a couple years ago, one came out for the PC and the PS4. I have not played it yet, but I will definitely check that out. But still, No Mercy is the best wrestling game. So yeah, those Dreamcast. So I'm like pretty much having like a game for almost every system here. But so for Dreamcast, another game that I love is Skies of Arcadia. It's another RPG game. It's just a great, solid RPG. It does nothing like new. It doesn't bring really anything new to the table, but the setting is great. You're sky pirates. Well, I think one thing is new to the table. Since you're sky pirates, you're on these ships. They're flying ships, and there's a point where you can do ship-to-ship battle, turn-based ship-to-ship battle, and just awesome. Just overall game is just great. The combat is great. The story is great. The world is great. I think that's one of the best things about this game. It's open, like there's an open world. You're flying around on this sky ship. There's all these sky islands, and I did a lot of artwork with this game, because there's like islands. Say there's a sky island that with a lake in it, and the lake fills up, and there's a waterfall that's going into another sky island. I think I drew that like multiple times in like art class in high school. I think it's one of the coolest looking things. So yeah, and then another N64 game, first person shooter, probably one of the games that put first person shooters on the map, competitive first person shooters, is GoldenEye. Now, oh boy, we used to go in on GoldenEye back in the day. 4 players, people be mad because they think you're looking at their screens. Everyone wants to pick Oddjob because the Oddjob had a little bit of, since he was shorter than everyone, he had a little bit of advantage. But, oh man, GoldenEye was an awesome game. The actual single player wasn't that bad. Like, it was okay. There's a lot of stuff. Some part was a little confusing back then. Solid single player, but the multiplayer, what really made that game great, with all the weapons, the proximity mines, the remote mines. You know, tell me Rockets on the Temple was not fun. Rockets Temple was great. It was just a great, great game. Probably one of the best first-person shooters. I would say that and Halo, competitive multiplayer shooters, are like neck and neck. I don't know which one I like better, because I have, like, you know, fond memories of playing each one, all the time. Like, all the time. Everyone used to get together and play GoldenEye. Everyone used to get together and play Halo. And back then, we actually, speaking of Halo, I would say me and a couple other friends, probably the first group, not the first, but we were definitely playing Halo online. And not many people were doing that. Not many people knew how to do it. But we were playing Halo online, and we were wrecking people. I don't know if we were wrecking people because it was just so laggy, but we definitely had GameSpy. Think about that. Let's go back. GameSpy was a thing where we actually had to hook up our Xbox to a hub, and then connect it to a GameSpy, and we could play online. And there were people playing. So we, it'd be 4-on-4. We're all online playing, and I don't know if it was lag or not, but we were wrecking people to the point where we would do like monkey tricks. So monkey tricks, I don't know if anyone knows what monkey tricks is, but any game where there's certain places you can't get to, but if you're playing co-op or another person in the game, you would duck, and that person would jump on that person, then they'll stand up, and then you're standing on top of the other person. You can climb on stuff that you couldn't get to. So that's monkey tricks. But what we do is we would do monkey tricks. So have someone stand on the other, but we would pick up the invisibility cloak. So we have the person on the bottom, their back to whoever trying to kill them. And one thing about Halo is all about, if you hit someone in the back with a melee, they would just die automatically. It was just one hit kill. So you have your back to people, but the person on top was invisible to rocket on them. So as they come closer, like, oh, I'm going to knock this person out. The person on top with the rocket would just shoot the person before they even get a chance to kill them. So that's the monkey tricks kill we used to do back in the day. We pulled it off. It's hard to pull off, but we pulled it off. But I don't know if it was because of the lag or not like that. So yeah, I just want to give you guys introduction about me, gaming history, so when we do talk about these games that I played them, I know what I'm talking about. I have memories of these games. Like I said, I would love to hear you guys' memories, so make sure you hit me up, Game Memories Pod on Twitter, Game Memories Podcast at gmail.com. So yeah, definitely guys, hit me up. Let's talk about video games. And that's all about me, So I just wanted this first episode to be, just to get a handle and let you guys know about me and all that. Real quick before we go, this is gonna be this episode's gonna be a little bit shorter than the rest, but let's talk about game collecting really fast. So one thing I wish I knew about when I was younger is to hold on to my games. Now, back then, you don't have that much. You're using people, parents, or you scrim up some money to get some games. And when they had those trade-ins, it's like, oh man, I can trade this game in and get me a new game. So that's one thing I regretted when I was younger. Trading in my games. Definitely traded in a lot of games, and I regret. I still have a good amount of games. I'm nowhere near to any of these big collectors, but I have my little collection of older games. I have some PS1 games, PS2. I have Sega Saturn games on my Dreamcast, Genesis. So yeah, I have a little bit of collection. We'll definitely go over the collection. We'll definitely go over stuff I don't have, but stuff I played a long time ago. So yeah, thank you for listening, guys. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. And thank you. And thanks for listening.